Alrighty guys, so welcome to another tutorial for GMStudio on Xskode Media. Today we're actually going to make an action battle system. Something similar to I guess you can say old school Diablo. You know, you're kind of clicking where you want your player to go. You're clicking on your environment to interact with it. You're clicking on the enemy to attack, so on, etc. So without any further ado, let's dive on into some programming, guys. Alright, so there are a few things we're going to actually need to create from the beginning before we can actually get started. A quick rundown, we'll end up creating a room, an object for the player, for the go-to object, which is like the location, the destination the player is going to move to. And then we'll have the walls, of course, that the player has to find his way around. And then we'll make a variable object that will actually hold all of our global variables just while we're developing, and then when it's done we might put it into a save file or something like that. So let's go ahead and dive on in. I guess we'll go ahead and start with making the room first, and we'll give it the basic full HD 60 frames, enable the use of views as well. Alright, and then let's go ahead and create the objects, shall we? Object player. Object wall. Object variable or variables. And do we need anything else right now? We have the, oh, that's right, the go-to. Oh crap, pressed the wrong thing. The go-to. So we'll do object go-to. Sweet. And then before we close them all, let's go ahead and create the sprites. We'll have one for each object except the variable. So we don't need one for that. The go-to. Let's do 32 by 32. Let's make it a circle, because that's what we do. And we'll make it yellow. Awesome. So that's the sprite. Let's go ahead and center. Oh crap, I did that for the player. Alright, this is go-to. This is the go-to object. There we go. So let's go ahead and assign that. Then we can close that one. Now we'll make the player. So sprite player, we'll do that. We'll go ahead and do 32 by 32. Keep it nice and simple. And let's do purple. Yeah, why not purple? Let's go ahead and center that as well. And then let's make a sprite wall. 32 by 32. We'll make this black. And why not? Let's just go ahead and just add another color to it real quick. I guess just try to make it look a little bit better than just a simple black solid color. Alright, awesome. And then we'll center that as well. So do we have, I think we have all of that. We'll leave the variables open. Let's go to the object wall, give it the wall sprite, we can close that. Object player, give it the player sprite, we can close that. Then let's go ahead and open up our room. And let's start with the walls real quick. And I'm just gonna go ahead and make a little maze. Let's not center the wall. There we go. All right. So now what we'll do is we'll place the object player right up in here. Now we probably should not center the player either. I just thought about that. Yeah, let's not center the player either. We will center the go-to spot though, so the player can actually go more into the center of the location before the player actually stops. So there we have it. we pretty much have everything set up. Let's go ahead and hit the save button. And now inside of our variables, we'll have a create event, and we'll create a few global variables. So creating global vars, which is actually incorrect because that indicates something else, but creating global variables. All right. So first thing is first, we're going to need to make sure the player can move only if the player does not have the menu open. So we'll do something like global dot menu open equals false. Global dot, I guess, talking. Yeah. So the player, if the player hits the left mouse button while he's talking, it won't move. The object won't be created. A new object won't be created if the menu's open, and if the player is actually moving, he'll just pause. So yes, we'll have global talking false, global menu open false as well. And let's see, what else do we need? We need the move speed. I'm making this a global variable because of the fact that you will actually be able to increase it. So we'll start at a movement speed of 3 and allow the player to actually improve upon it. So let's go ahead and knock it down to 2 then, actually, since this is kind of like an RPG. For player. So we have that, and we might as well go ahead and create these real quick. Global.player HP. All right, so we pretty much have, I believe, everything we need in order to make the first part of this system. So I'll leave that open. Now let's go ahead and open up our player. This is where some of the fun kind of happens. So let's create a step event in here. Now this is where we're going to actually create our whole entire movement, our whole entire path, pretty much. This is where we're about to set up our path finding. We do not need the path to happen unless a few things are met. Like the player is not talking, the menu's not open, and the go-to object is actually on the field. So let's go ahead and get started. Creating path finding and setup. All right. So first thing is first. Let's go ahead and create my grid. And this is going to be EMP grid create. Yes, create. We'll end up starting it at the top left, so that's going to be 0, 0. Cells, horizontal cells, will end up being room width divided by 32. Room height divided by 32. And next we'll make the cells the size of 32. There we go. We have the first part of that. And then what we need to do is we need to start creating the path. So we're going to start creating path for player. And we'll do my path equals path add. And then we need to do MP grid path. And this is going to equal my grid. The path will be my path. Is going to start at X and Y. And then it's going to be object go to for the goal. Yeah. Go to X, object go to Y. And yes, we'll allow diagonal movement. Now, wait a second. That is incorrect. I'm missing something. I am missing something. MP grid add instances. All right? Yes. And the ID of this is actually going to end up being my path. So we have my path. The object is going to be object wall. So we're going to avoid the walls, and yes, it is going to be precise. There we go. So then this will actually be setting up path of player. There we go. Yeah. And then last but not least, we need to go ahead and start player's path. And that's when we're going to do path start my path. The speed is actually going to be global dot move speed. In action, we'll just do that because we're not going to have it do anything. It's just going to stop. Absolute true. All right, cool. So we have the whole entire setup for path finding. Now we need to make sure that this only is happening when the go-to object is on the field. And we need to also make sure, well, no, that's for creating it. So while this is on the field, let's do if global dot menu open equals false, and global dot talking equals false, and global dot, or not global, and instance number, yes, object goto is greater than 0. If all of that seems to be true, then this will happen. Now, the reason why I did it that way is because inside the same exact program, I'm going to also create the moving for the player. So we're going to do creating object goto. So if mouse check button press, MB left mouse button, we need to make sure, well, first we're going to check if obj goto exists. So if instance number object goto is greater than 0, then we are going to do with object goto instance destroy. Else create object instance create at x, no, not at x, at mouse x, mouse y, object goto. Okay, so yes, that should actually work. That should work 100%. All right, so now in order to finish this, hold on. So if it does exist, then it will go ahead and move to it. Okay, I see what I'm doing. Got it. But I can't do it like this. I can't do it like that. Will give us an error. So inside of here is where we'll need to set that up. So if, well, it wouldn't give us an error. What it will actually do is it will not work. It just will not work. So if instance create, or not create, number, object goto is greater than 0, then we can go ahead and move to the location. And then this is if the button is pressed, If it's greater than 0, the button's pressed, then we're going to destroy it, and then we're going to create it at the new location. There we go. So this will work perfectly. All right, so now we can go ahead and close the player. Excuse me. Let's open up our object goto, and in here we are going to create 2 events. We're going to create the collision with object player. So player reached location, instance destroyed. So it's going to destroy itself. And then the other thing that we're going to do is stopping player's movement. So with object player dot hspeed, see it's on 18 minutes. Okay, hspeed equals 0. Object player dot vspeed equals 0. And that just ensures that when the player reaches a destination, it will stop. When the player selects a different location, it will stop, so on, etc. So there we go. We actually have everything in place. So what should actually happen is it should work 100% correctly, but let's make sure of that. All right, so there is an error. Oh, it's not set. Okay, that makes sense. We need to put the object variable inside the room. There we go. Alright, so here we are. So let's go ahead and create something. Awesome. Okay, see, that is the problem. So what we're going to do is back over here inside the step event. That's the problem. We need to create. Wait, let me make sure I'm on the screen. Okay, yes, I am. All right, so we need to create the object after destroying it inside the same program. There we go. Perfect. So now we can do that. We can do that. Awesome. Now I'm not liking that. I think I might know why. Let's go back over here and let's fine tune this real quick. I think we should center it. Let's try to center everything. Oh wait, did I make it solid? I didn't make it solid. Never mind. That's more likely the issue. Let's go ahead and knock this back to 0. 0. Just like that. Hit OK, hit OK. And let's go ahead and restart it. There we go. So now it should look a little bit better. It shouldn't be going through the walls like it was doing earlier. We should have made it a lot more smoother. Kind of. Not really. We're gonna have to work on that. Let's make the player solid. I mean, it's not going to be perfect because we have not got to that script yet, but what should happen is should not be too far in at its raw state. Now we do have to set up the conditions to actually limit the speed and make sure it moves up against it. So it's not going to be perfected just yet. What I'm trying to do is just to clean it up a little bit, so it's not a tough issue trying to perfect it. And it looks like it's a lot better. It's much better. And then when we actually fine tune this, we'll actually stop it from doing things That's a bit too much though. So let's go back over here real quick. Let's try a few more things. Let's try centering the player only. Let's see what happens there. Much better. That is a lot better. Okay, yes. Alrighty, sweet. So there you have it. The first thing that we did today was we actually created the whole pathfinding, which is really kind of the biggest part of this type of game, actually. If you ask me, that's pretty much the biggest part. We got through the toughest part, pathfinding. Nevertheless, though, we are going to start working on interaction within your world environment. That's going to be the next thing that we work on. So allowing the player to actually click on a treasure chest or open up a door, so on, etc. Just interacting with the environment around them. After that, we might dive on into making the pathfinding system for the enemy and giving it some artificial intelligence as well. So there you have it. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe me on YouTube so you can stay updated with the latest release of videos. And if you haven't already, go ahead and follow me on Twitter so that you can stay updated not just with the latest videos, but also the latest news about what's going on with my YouTube channel, and also the latest news on the video game project that I am working on. So go ahead and do all that. And like always, I thank you all for watching, and later, guys.